Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. Today we're down here in Melbourne, Florida, east coast of Florida, kind of central Florida area, working on a foundation. This home actually has a semi-basement, and what we're going to be doing is waterproofing the exterior foundation wall. So you can see we've started the excavation. Here's a real good example of the original footer pipe. You see these tiles that run through here. They're 1 foot sections, 4 inches wide inside, and they butted together in order to allow water to flood up into the system and be carried away. And if you look closely, you'll notice they're just packed full of dirt. This is 30, 40 years since that was installed. We're going to replace all that with the easy flow, and we're also going to seal the wall with liquid rubber all the way around. It's actually going to discharge over here to a sump basin, and the homeowner did some exploration. He found a sump pump over here, which is really great because now we can send all this water and more over to this basin, and the pump will lift it up and send it out to the street. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so excavation's moving along pretty well. Just now getting down to the footer, and you can see all the gravel that's been laid down here. This was the original gravel, and if you look closely, you'll see a couple of brown spots. That is the old terracotta footer tile. So we know that we're right at the footer level. We're going to clean this all out. It comes over and we'll turn and go around this little knee-high wall and then on around the side of the house to where it's going to discharge to the sump pump. Again, a good project for the do-it-yourselfer. Difficult to dig through gravel. There's no other way. You just have to dig through it. When you get down to the footer, you'll know it, and I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, so here's the footer, you can see, and you can see where the stucco actually stops and becomes solid concrete as it meets the footer. We're going to clean all this off and seal the wall with liquid rubber all the way up, including across the seam of the footer and the foundation wall. Still have some excavation. Footer on this side. Turn. Beautiful. Joe's got it where it drops down. Now it's really nice and low. Water will drain out of here really well. So again, the homeowner had done some excavation, and this is something that I can kind of help you with. If you notice where the sump pit is and where he set all the soil, it looks nice and it's clean, but it's hard to put this soil back because it's so far away from your excavation. Remember to try to set your soil right alongside your trench. If you lay out plastic or tarps, you can see how we're right by our trench where we're digging, all the way up the hill, because it's much easier to push the soil back, save you a lot of back. Okay, so labor. Let's catch up with what we're doing. You can see here's the sump pit. If you remember the photo from before, it basically was just discharging, out through that black tube right there onto the ground. What I've done is I've replumbed this, and I've put, some no-hub couplings to give it some flexibility, because it's not quite, true square plumb, and you can see the little bend. That will be no problem at all. The pump down below, I've checked it. It is a Zoller M53, 1/3 of a horsepower. Great little pump. It should keep up with this. If not, then they'll need to go to the 1/2 horsepower pump. What we've done is we went ahead and trenched a new line right through here. This is for a yard drain for a catch basin, and you can see the catch basin was already installed right here. There's a gas line here we had to go under, and apparently some type of other yard drain. I don't know where that goes, but we went underneath to get good fall. You can see the groundwater down there in that trench. Can you see that? There's a lot of water in this yard, and this is all going to come through. This pipe goes underground into that water that you see, and there's actually a T right here which goes into the sump pit. Our footer pipe is going to come across, and I went ahead and drilled a new hole. Let me show you. I drilled a new hole to bring that in right here at the top of the pit, and that way it's not connected to the downspout drain, which is here. Although we are connecting this downspout over here. That's why I wonder if the M53 will keep up with it. Not a lot of water. Let's look up there. You can see it's just one side of the house, but a fair amount of water comes down that gutter and is going to be going into this pit. the pump can easily pump it out, but during great big rainfalls, that's a lot of water for the M53. It can pump about 60 gallons a minute, a lot of water, but you know, a 1-inch rainfall, we're talking 1,100 gallons in a 1-inch rainfall, so it's a lot of water for that little pump to handle. We'll see what it does. Right now we're sealing the wall. Got Joe over there painting on the liquid rubber. You can see how it goes on. He does a nice job of sealing it up. And basically, remember, this is blackjack number 57. And the secret is that you seal it all the way down to the seam of the footer. Most important spot. Paint that on, we'll let it dry, and then we're gonna look at another. I have to remind you about this. If you're gonna do some labor yourself, you see the piles of dirt, they put it on the tarp and the gravel. Look how far this is from the trench, from the work area. This is 2 times, 3 times the labor to move this dirt back to the excavation site. And again, not a big deal, but you know, they basically didn't save any money because we have to put that in the wheelbarrow and then wheel it back over here to put it all back together. Much better to mound your dirt up, as you can see, right where you're excavating, and then push it back in when you're done. So what I'm doing now is I'm connecting the footer pipe to the sump pit. You can see here's the sump pit. We're right on top of it. Sump pit. This is the footer pipe. Remember, I drilled a hole in the side over here, so I'm going to cut this pipe off so it sticks well into the pit. And the way I make that connection is actually exactly 4 inches, so we're going to slice the pipe 5 or 6 inches, and then we just squeeze it together real nice and tight. So I went ahead and connected the pipe, the 4-inch discharge, into the sump pit. Remember, that's a 4-inch hole saw. We slice this 4-inch pipe, and then we squeeze it together, slide it inside, and it expands and fits super tight. You can see this is the discharge. Up there at the footer of the house is going to be the perforated pipe. We're using easy flow drain pipe, which is a styrofoam peanuts that encase the perforated pipe, and it's all encased in fabric. It works really good for this type of situation. Okay, so we're starting to lay our footer pipe. Remember that there was a fence footer right here we had to come around, and right here I'm switching over to gravel perforated pipe, so we'll pour some more gravel and just bring that over, then solid pipe as it goes out to the sump pit. And the easy flow pipe right here, we found that this is not a step-up footer, this is a sidewalk. So we had to come around this pad and over in order to bring the water from that corner around, out, and over to. So we're starting to lay the easy flow, and this is the footer pipe. It is 4-inch perforated pipe surrounded by styrofoam peanuts encased in a fabric to keep all that styrofoam there. Water floods up in through the styrofoam into the holes at the bottom of the pipe and is carried away. And you can see we had to go around the sidewalk pad, and we can continue this. Whoops. And we'll connect to this section over here. So now comes the fun part of backfilling, and it's a little bit easy, but still it's hot, full sun here. Basically, you take your shovel and you just start pushing it right back into your trench, covering it all up. All that work that you did to, you know, dig down to that footer, excavate it, this is where it was worthwhile, because if you did it right, you won't have. Now we're making the T connection from the downspout. This line is the catch basin line that we showed you. This is going to the downspout, and it's going over to the sump pit. And we can just push this line down so it goes down deeper. But again, we'll hook up that downspout. You can see that's coming separate, and we'll make the connection to the catch basin. And again, it's okay if it's popped up here. You can see it easily pushes down, and then we backfill on top of that. This job's almost done. The hard part now is to backfill, just because it's hot. That's the only reason. And again, if you were doing it yourself, maybe you'd wait till the morning and do it again. But you know, you've hired a contractor. We're going to go ahead and do it all. I am going to put a screw here in his little discharge, because this comes from the sump pump and it's under pressure back there, and we don't want this to blow off, so I'm just going to put a little set screw in here to put it all together. There we go. Just going to screw it real tight. This way you can see it's secure and the water can't blow that grade, or if it was a pop-up, sometimes we do the same thing. And so while I've been fooling around cutting floors and little tiny things, Joe's been out here and he's backfilling and he's almost got it done here. Just a little bit more, probably about 10 or 15 more minutes, and we will be out of here and ready to go. Okay, so what we're doing is we're going to go ahead and core through the wall using our Bosch 1.5" hammer drill. This is a 2-inch bit. It's a perfect hole for the 1.5" PVC. So here's the 1.5" PVC. As we came through the wall, you can see it comes perfect hole. It's very tight. Sometimes you have to just pound it through, but it's working really good. Okay, so we used the Makita concrete saw to cut the basement floor. Let's take a look. Okay, so you can see our saw cut with the gas saw. That's a 14-inch diamond blade. And the reason that you need that is because you need to get all the way down through the floor. If you don't, you can't get this concrete out. The homeowner tried to use an electric saw, but it only cuts down about 1.5 inches or 2 inches. And you can see there's tile here too. So you got to get deep enough to make this work, or it won't. You're wasting your time. And we've made the hole a little bit larger. I also gave him a few more expansion cracks because you take the pry bar and you hit a piece of concrete, just like a jackhammer. You just keep hitting it, it'll crack, and then you can pry that piece up and lift it out, so on and so forth. So he's got 4 squares, basically, to put that in. I also widened it to make sure that he was able to put some concrete back around the pit itself. You need a couple of inches of concrete to hold that in place. Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains, reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day.